A quorum is present, so that with the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery, please rise. We will be led in prayer this afternoon by our guest chaplain, His Eminence Archbishop Moshe Mardirosian, close, who is the prelate for the Western United States. Your Holiness.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for granting us this day to gather in the spirit of friendship and fellowship with the esteemed members of the California State Senate to commemorate the 101st anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. As we remember the 1.5 million Armenians who perished at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, we remember also all past and present martyrs and victims of bloodshed and violence, especially during the last weeks in Artsakh, asking for your comfort and healing for all who suffer in body, mind, and spirit. May you grant them strength, protection, and hope for better days. Bring justice to all peoples and establish your love and peace in the hearts of all, for you are a gracious and compassionate Lord. In this post-centennial year, as we continue to carry the wounds inflicted on our ancestors and our nation, we place in you our faith and hope as we persist in our noble cause with the solidarity of friends such as the honorable members of the California State Legislature. We take this time to convey to them our gratitude for taking the time each year to pay homage to our holy martyrs and to all our friends in public office for standing on the side of the Armenian people. May you bless them abundantly for their principled stand and strengthen the will of all those who fight for truth, justice, and righteousness. Lord Almighty, we thank you for this privilege of living in this great nation we are proud to call home, where we enjoy the virtues of liberty, justice, equality, and security. And we pray for a kinder and gentler world where all peoples of all faiths and ethnicities can live as we do in peace, love, and fraternity. May the souls of all martyrs and victims of man's inhumanity to man rest in peace. And may you keep us all in peace under your loving care and mercy. We beseech you. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now would ask the color guard to please come forward. Color guard, please post the colors. The Pledge of Allegiance to our flag will be offered by Senator Carol Liu. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard, retire the colors.
I rise to present Assembly Joint Resolution AGR number 34 from our wonderful colleague from the Assembly. This measure designates the year of 2016 as a State of California, a year of commemoration of the anniversary of the Armenian Genocide of 1915 to 1923. It designates April 24th 2016 as a State of California Day commemoration of the 101st anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, of course, 1915 to 1923. And it does also call upon the chief executive of our amazing nation, the president, our president, President Barack Obama, as well as leaders of the United States Congress, the lower house as well as the upper house, in a formal fashion to consistently reaffirm the historical truth that the atrocities committed against the Armenian people constituted a very important legal word, which is genocide. Now, to quote William Faulkner, the past isn't dead and buried. In fact, it isn't even past. Now, these words from Faulkner continue to ring true today as we're faced with more injustice as well as intolerance. The Armenian Genocide is a dark chapter in history, one that can never be erased and one that can never be forgotten. The horror of what took place between 1915 and 1923 must always be remembered as a warning to society as a whole of the dangers of intolerance and hate, those who spread fear and darkness and divisiveness. Sadly, over the last century, we have seen far too many genocide atrocities, first against the Armenians, then the Jews, the Cambodians, Rwandans, and today, sadly, in Darfur, as well as Myanmar, and in certain regions of Iraq where ISIS reigns. The tragedy of genocide can only be understood and stopped through recognition, complete and total acknowledgement to ensure that this crime is not repeated again. Yet despite growing recognition of the Armenian genocide in the international community, including 40 states in the great United States of America, the current government, political government in the Republic of Turkey continues to actively and aggressively promote its denialist campaign throughout the world. This is, in fact, another tragedy, and it is deeply unfortunate. The current government would have the world believe that perhaps the Armenians endured what was perhaps a bilateral engagement of civil war, not a deliberately engineered calamity leveled mercilessly on men, women, and especially children. The violence against Armenians, as we all know, as we all concur in a bipartisan fashion, was inhumane. But now they and others would make us believe that a second inhumanity is happening as we speak, which is the violence against the memory of many of those who suffered. Today, our sympathy goes to all survivors of the Armenian Genocide and their children and their grandchildren, and especially to nearly 500,000 of Armenian people who are of Armenians and Armenian descent who are part of the great state of California. We acknowledge the accomplishments and the dedication of the descendants of the genocide victims who continue to fight for justice and play a vital role in California's prosperity. The great state of California will not let their history vanish, and it will not let their demand for justice go unanswered. Madam President, as well as colleagues, I respectfully ask for an aye vote on Assembly Joint Resolution number 34.
Thank you, Senator De Leon. Is there any debate or discussion on this item? Senator Mendoza.
I just want to rise in support and thank the Pro Tem for bringing this measure forward. Representing one of the large Armenian communities in the city of Montebello and throughout my district, I just want to take a moment to not only praise this resolution, but also continue to advocate, as most of the Armenian community has done, is to ensure that people acknowledge the historical truth and atrocity that did occur of 100 years ago. Many folks still continue to deny or say it didn't happen. I think we need to make sure that people know the truth, and they have always continued to advocate, and we should continue, as this resolution points out, to ask Congress and the President to continue to urge not only folks within our nation, but throughout the world to acknowledge what did occur over 100 years ago. And with that, Madam President, I rise in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen,
He wasn't.
Anderson, I, Bates. I, Bell. I, Berryhill. I, Block. I, Canella. I, De Leon. I, Fuller. I, Gaines. I, Galgiani. I, Glazer. I, Hall. I, Hancock. I, Hernandez. Hertzberg. I, Hill. I, Hueso. I, Huff. I, Jackson. I, Lara. I, Leno. I, Leyva. I, Liu. I, McGuire. I, Mendoza. I, Mitchell. I, Monning. Morlock. I, Morell. I, Wynn. I, Nielsen. I, Pan. I, Pavley. I, Roth. I, Runner. Stone. I, Vidak. I, Wykowski. I, Wolk. I,
Please call the absent members.
Allen. Allen, I. Hernandez. Monning. Runner.
Ayes 37, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Back to motions and resolutions. Excuse me. Under privileges of the floor, Senator De Leon.
Thank you, Madam President. You read my mind with my request to go back to privileges of the floor. Colleagues,
Under privileges of the floor, then, Senator De Leon.
it is an honor to welcome the Armenian community to the Senate chamber in recognition of the 101st anniversary of the Armenian genocide. We have Armenian Americans have come from all over the state of California, from the Bay Area, from Central Valley, especially from Southern California, and from Los Angeles. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the community from all over California who have traveled here today to our state capitol to partake in this wonderful ceremony. With us, of course, we have the wonderful Archbishop, Mr. Mar the Rosian, who has given us a prayer today. We also have students from the Rose and Alex Pilibus School in my district who are right above us today. We have members of the Armenian National Committee, the ANC, as well as the chairwoman, Nora Hosverbian, and the honorable and board members. Today, I would also like to welcome the Armenian Deputy General Counsel of Los Angeles, Valery Markartumian, who will say a few words in a moment. But before I give the floor to the Deputy Counsel General, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the legacy of Armenian immigration to the United States, but especially here to California, because the Armenian story, as we know it, is a part of a greater California story. The state of California has been and will always be a place where those who are torn from their homelands can come and make a new home. Here in California, Armenian immigrants have found a new home that resembled in many ways their native land. And California has enabled Armenians to establish very, very strong communities in which they can blend traditions from the old world with the freedoms of the new. Today, nearly 500,000 Americans living in California today represent an impressively diverse and very successful group. This is the fundamental promise of California and a legacy that California is proud to uphold for every person of color and creed. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming the members of the Armenian community that have come all the way from Southern California and Fresno and the Bay Area and elsewhere to the California State Senate. And Madam President, as well as colleagues, let's give a warm welcome to Deputy General Markartumian, who will address this chamber.
Indeed, and welcome to the California State Senate. And without objection, if you would like to say a few words.
Yes, again, Deputy Counsel General of Armenia, Mr. Markartumian.
Mr. Markartumian.
Thank you very much indeed. President Pro Tem of the California State Senate, Honorable Kevin Leon de Leon, Honorable State Senators, distinguished guests, Your Eminence, very reverend and reverend fathers, ladies and gentlemen, and dear compatriots. I'm truly honored to be present here today at the California State Senate floor to express on behalf of the people of Armenia and my government our deep gratitude to all of you for the resolution commemorating the remembrance of the Armenian Genocide of 1915-1923. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak before this outstanding audience. Armenians all over the world, with its far-fetched diaspora, together with the progressive mankind, get together these days to observe centennial commemoration of the Armenian Genocide of 1915. 1.5 million Armenians were systematically killed, tortured, and deported in the Ottoman Turkish Empire through a state-level genocidal campaign, which is recognized as the first genocide of the 20th century. So horrific were the acts of violence committed against the Armenian people that the then U.S. Ambassador Morgenthau noted, I am confident that the whole history of human race contains no such horrible episodes as this. The great massacres and persecutions of the past seem almost insignificant when compared to the sufferings of the Armenian race in 1915. We are today very glad that we have officials who feel like us an urgent sense of obligation on this solemn day of commemoration. By commemorating, we pay homage to the memory of innocent victims of that nightmare. At the same time, we pay tribute also to the courage and triumph of the Armenian people who managed not only to survive the emergence of an independent Republic of Armenia and the Armenian diaspora worldwide, stand as a testament to the resiliency of the Armenian people. Our intention is merely to have this issue of utmost importance to history to be adequately recognized and condemned universally, affirmed, especially in the context of its impact on humanity. A policy determined by expediency should yield to the principles of ethics and human values. We Armenians, collectively, are fully aware of the profoundly devastating effects of the genocide on our nation. It's our common commitment to eliminate crimes and the threat of crimes against humanity, because intolerance and violence destroy the dignity, life, and freedom of human beings. As the President of the Republic of Armenia, Sargsyan, recently mentioned, and quite precisely, quote, all our endeavors are not solely aimed at keeping the memory of our innocent victims and restoring historical justice. Our fight is, first of all, aimed at returning to the civilized world and humanity to the greatest human values, which are love and happiness, belief and trust, hope and warmth, of which our world fell short as a consequence of the despicable crime. Many of the survivors of the 1915 genocide immigrated also to the United States by establishing large and vibrant Armenian communities. Today, the state of California is home to almost a 1 million strong Armenian American community. Availing myself of this opportunity, I would like to express, indeed, our deep gratitude and the gratitude of the whole people of Armenia to the American people who so kindly extended their generous support to the genocide survivors, and up till now. Today, we are really proud at the same time of the valuable contribution of the Armenian American community to the economic, political, and cultural landscape of the United States of America. Unfortunately, recently, the world witnessed also a new wave of large-scale aggression unleashed by the Azerbaijani military against the Nagorno-Karabakh Defense Forces, this time, unfortunately, targeting also the civilian population. The use of this sophisticated and heavy weaponry by Azeri shows that it's completely incompatible with the human rights law. It is nothing else than another attempt of genocide, this time against the peace-loving people of the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. What the people of Artsakh, Nagorno-Karabakh want is simply just to live in peace with its neighbors and in dignity. Armenians, I'm sorry, the last paragraph. I would like to avail myself also of this opportunity to extend our deep appreciation to California legislature, to the California State Senate, especially to President Pro Tem Honorable Kevin De Leon for this leadership in encouraging the people of California also to commemorate the month of April as month of remembrance of the Armenian genocide, as well as in recognizing the independence of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, in supporting the strife of the peace-loving people of Artsakh for self-determination and freedom. We regard this not only as manifestation of solidarity with the Armenian people, but also a strong loyalty, first of all, to the highest of human values. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Colleagues,